Time now for Media Watch, a look at what's been making news in the Chinese media. Police in the southwestern province of Guizhou have detained a couple for burning their 6-year-old daughter with red-hot tongs and using other forms of torture-like discipline to correct her bad behavior. Police says Jiang Zhou, the father, and mother Liu Mei confessed they also routinely ordered the girl to kneel on a board full of nails and lashed her with wires during years of abuse. The Guizhou Metropolis Daily published photos of the child that showed horrific wounds on her buttocks, legs, and face. Jiang and Luo confessed they burned the child when she refused to do her homework and talked back when she was told to close the door. Police in the southern province of Guangdong have arrested a smooth-talking conman who allegedly duped 8 women out of more than $20,000 while dating them. The Guangzhou Daily says the women teamed up to get the man arrested when they figured out they were being fooled. The victims spent 6 months trying to track down the man, who they eventually found hiding out in the city. Police were called and the 27-year-old suspect was arrested. Now to the western province of Gansu, where the provincial government has issued a regulation saying that those infected with HIV must inform the people they had sex with. The Western Business News reports that the new law states that HIV sufferers have 1 month to fulfill this obligation from the date of their diagnosis. The law also states that they must meet their former lovers face-to-face to tell them. If they fail to comply, they could face prosecution and compensation claims. Well, the Henan Business Daily reports on a strange and sad story of a man who married his girlfriend at her funeral. The couple met 3 years ago and the man was serving in the Chinese army in Henan province. They fell in love and stayed together throughout those 3 years. In August, they officially registered to marry, but the girl became ill and tragically died earlier this week. The heartbroken groom insisted that the marriage celebrations take place at her funeral. China Tech News reports that by the end of September 2009, the number of China's internet users had reached 360 million. Li Yizhong, director for China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, announced this week that the scale of China's network users has been increasing. By the end of September 2009, China had just over 1 billion phone users, including 324 million fixed telephone users and 720 million mobile phone users. The number of websites in China had reached 3.2 million. The number of China's mobile internet users had reached 192 million, a year-on-year increase of 62.7%. The People's Daily reports that the government in the southern province of Yunnan has taken on to 100 volunteer media monitors. Their job is to keep an eye on paid news, so-called fake reports, pornographic publications, and fake adverts in the mass media. The province started recruiting volunteer media monitors last month. More than 200 people applied within just a few weeks. The media monitors come from a range of backgrounds, including professors, lawyers, technicians, migrant workers, and soldiers, but nobody working in news. Some have criticized the move, calling it another form of censorship. Local officials say they recruited the monitors to improve the media's credibility. Well, the Yangtze Evening News reports on a 23-year-old man who took drastic action to get out of running the family business. The man cut off his 4 fingers in a desperate attempt to prove to his grandfather once and for all that he didn't want to run the family enterprise or his fortune. The recent graduate is passionate about drawing cartoons and wants to do that instead. He is now recovering in a local hospital. His grandfather has promised to spend as much money as it takes to get the 4 fingers sewn back on. A 72-year-old entrepreneur has taken his own son to court for selling his house without his permission. The Guangzhou Daily says the elderly businessman is a well-known entrepreneur in his city. He set up his own company and became a millionaire, but his son sold the business when it was passed on to him, as well as 6 of his father's cars. For his father, the final straw came when his errant son sold the home in which he had planned to retire. The young man now faces his father in court and the humiliation of being featured in a book by his father, which warns other entrepreneurs to keep an eye on their exploits of their pampered children. And finally, a student at a university in the city of Hangzhou ran across campus completely naked to protest frequent power cuts in the dorm. Hu Huakai, an international trade major at Zhejiang Gongsang University, left his car on the busiest street of the campus and ran nude around the university grounds for more than 20 minutes. Hu had reportedly streaked once before to comfort a heartbroken classmate who apologized in his blog for the troubles he caused to his parents and head teachers and his classmates as well. And that's today's Media Watch. And in fact, that's all for now from the team here at BON News.